Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. You're looking live at Towson as we're here on this Sunday, July 23rd. We're breaking into your soccer here on Fox 45, and we're going to get right into your forecast. I'm Taylor Stewart, but let's get to the guy who knows what the weather's going to be like, meteorologist Justin Chambers.
Yeah, good morning. Not too bad yesterday with our temperatures that were mainly in the 80s, actually some below average numbers, and actually starting off pretty nice as we look out over the Inner Harbor. Plenty of sunshine out there right now. We are tracking those temperatures that are going to start heating up, but right now 60s for a lot of us in Owings Mills and Cockeysville, 76 in Dundalk, 67 in Brooklyn Park, but we're at 72 in Baltimore City. So we're staying mainly dry. We are tracking the chance for a stray pop-up storm late today and then more rain and storms heading in for your Monday. So out and about for your yard and gardening cast next couple of hours. Not looking too bad with 70s and 80s this morning. We'll get to those upper 80s and lower 90s through the middle part of the afternoon. Back with your full forecast in just a few.
Y'all getting all this funding, so why can't we find out what you're doing with this money?
Now, calls for transparency within Baltimore's Safe Streets program growing louder after former Mosby director Shantae Jackson's op-ed in the Baltimore Sun. Now, she stepped down last month just before the Brooklyn mass shooting. She's now defending the Safe Streets program, calling out to city council members.
Shantae Jackson is singling out Baltimore City Council members Eric Costello and Isaac Yitzi Schleifer in an op-ed in the Baltimore Sun. Both have been vocal, demanding transparency from Safe Streets and Mosby, trying to understand what policies are in place for the city's flagship gun violence intervention program, which we've been investigating for 2 years. This whole thing was a complete distraction, and that's what she was attempting to do. It was laced with inaccuracies. And that's really what we've seen from this individual since she started.
Good evening and welcome to the Public Safety and Government Operations Committee meeting.
During the Brooklyn mass shooting hearing July 13th, questions about the 5 mediations completed by 4 Safe Streets workers at the Brooklyn Day block party before the mass shooting were never answered directly by the interim director. When we know that there were 10 different people who were possibly shooting at this one instance, to know that they mediated 5 conflicts and the odds are at least 4 of them involved weapons, to know whether or not there's any correlation. Councilman Antonio Glover has even gone as far as calling for a funding freeze to Mosby, which now has over 40 employees and a budget of more than $20 million.
Right now, I think that until we start to see transparency in data, I think that money should be held to a halt.
But city leaders aren't the only ones calling for more accountability from Safe Streets.
I would like to see something done.
They should be doing a lot more than what I think they should be doing. These young people should not be killing and guns and dying.
They doing their part, but it could be more.
Baltimore residents like Sharon, who's been trying to start a crime prevention program of her own.
And we can't get a dime, we can't get a building, we can't do anything.
Are concerned the program the city is so heavily invested in just isn't working.
From what I see with the crime rate, no.
And she says as she struggles to get her program off the ground, she'd like to know where all Safe Streets funding is going.
We need to know what they're doing, because we can't get the help. Y'all getting all this funding, so why can't we find out what you're doing with this money?
This program works.
Mayor Brandon Scott has doubled down on the secrecy of the program, refusing to provide any insight into how mediations are tracked and reported by workers.
I think the public should trust and know, just like they trust our police officers, that these lifesavers are out there doing their work.
In a Fox 45 viewer poll this week, we asked, should the mayor answer questions about Safe Streets? 91% of those who voted said yes.
Safe Street is just not the answer by itself. Right. So if anybody think that can work by itself, it's not.
All right, joining us now, Giovanni Patterson, spokesperson for Peace, People for Elected Accountability, and we're here to talk about the Safe Streets program. So I want to talk about the transparency and the data piece of this that not only council members have been asking for, but folks in the community. Mm-hmm. Why do you think there's such a difficulty in getting more answers about the program and how it truly works?
Well, when you look at where the money, how the money goes through, there's really no there's no required accountability on how that money flows, right? So it comes from the city government, goes through a charity or nonprofit, and then goes through, to the program. But one thing that I'll remind people as as our organization piece is where they are. So what I show them is an organization chart of Baltimore City, and show them that they're at that top box, and they're the ones that are in control. So we need to be able to execute that power and find out where our tax dollars are going.
The mayor has defended this program vehemently, and part of the aspect of this program that he has said keeps it kind of in the dark is the folks who are working with people to mediate these conflicts. They're in the community. They want to be kind of a bedrock in the community and try to diffuse the violence in that respect. Does that preclude the city from giving us more information?
Absolutely not. Again, this is taxpayer dollars being used to fund this program so that the people have a right to know. But also the Safe Streets workers aren't, some mystery men, right? They're not secret agents. People know who they are. They know, these people that are in the community. These people already had a reputation and they have credibility within the community. So that's not really being compromised. And I think in Shantae's, Ms. Jackson's op-ed, she said they operate independently. And I think that's what the mayor is saying. But independent doesn't mean you're on an island, right? It means that you're able to share the information on what's going on. I mean, of course, they were on the scenes, and more than likely they were still back at the party afterwards, after they got off shift. So there's a requirement to share that information.
And like you said, as we go back to the Brooklyn Homes mass shooting, and the council that has had a hearing on this, they indicated, Safe Streets leaders, that there were 5 mediations that took place that day. At the point of questioning, which was not this past Thursday, the previous Thursday, they had not reviewed those mediations. That was what we had learned from that council as leaders of as leaders of the charity who oversee it has stated. Why do you think it's taken so long to get answers about something that happened so tragically 2 weeks ago, impacting children?
Again, this is another opportunity just to keep the people in the dark. When you delay information or push back information or say, I'm not ready, it's almost an attempt to get this off the people's minds, and also keep that blame and keep that focus on the police, right? I mean, the police have been the only ones that have openly stated that, we were wrong in this particular situation. And that's what the rest of the departments are harping on and using as their backdrop to avoid the accountability of what they've done in their role in this as well. I mean, Ms. Jackson outlined it in her op-ed, is that, the police have openly taken the blame. Why are we focusing on Safe Streets?
And we'll continue to not only ask that question, but we'll continue to ask for demand accountability for Safe Streets, the transparency that needs to happen as far as the investigation. And we will certainly keep you updated. Thank you, Giovanni, for joining us again.
Thank you.
All right. What was once regarded as Baltimore's top power couple, they're calling it quits. We have an inside look at the Mosby divorce ahead of the former city state attorney's upcoming trial.
Welcome back, everybody, on your Sunday morning. Our Weather Authority forecast looking out over a nice, calm Inner Harbor. Sun is out there for sure, and overall, not a bad morning so far. Temperatures looking pretty good. You can see our HD radar is all quiet at this time, and we've got a nice ridge of high pressure that has settled in over the weekend, and that's helped to bring some of that drier air. But we are tracking our next weather maker. Overall, today is not going to be stormy, but late this afternoon, you get some of the daytime heating. Could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, especially as we get later into the evening time and the overnight hours. And then as we head into Monday, we'll have another round of a few showers and a couple of pop-up thunderstorms as well. Here's a look at your rise and shine cast. Next few hours in the mid-70s, lower 80s through 10 a.m., and we'll keep those 80s going into the 11 o'clock hour as well. And if you want to get in the pool today, definitely make sure to get that sunblock on, that UV index in that very high category. We'll top out in the upper 80s and lower 90s for the afternoon. An average high for this time of year is 89. This is typically the hottest time of the year. We've got a hot week ahead. I'll show you that in a second. But mid to upper 80s for most of us, and even some lower 90s here, not only in Baltimore, but D.C. at 88 today. And if you're heading down the ocean, 83. Check out what's going on with our numbers. Our temperature tracker, a little bit of a dip tomorrow, but then those numbers steadily rising. We're looking at upper 90s, well above average high temperatures as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this upcoming week. So our future scan here, this ridge of high pressure going to be hanging around. Again, a stray pop-up storm. Can't rule that out for today. Better chance of some more of those storms coming in tomorrow morning and then off and on into tomorrow afternoon as well. And then we'll see those showers kind of hanging around late into Monday, but should be clearing out by Tuesday. We're just 43 days out from Labor Day and 7 weeks from today, the Ravens home opener. How about that? Football is around the corner. Here's that 7-day forecast for you. 90 today, upper 80s tomorrow, back to the lower 90s on Tuesday, and then check those numbers, mid to upper 90s. Some areas by Thursday and Friday could actually see some triple-digit temperatures.
All right, well, looking forward to it. Well, coming up after the break, Elon Musk has to return to court from a tweet that he made 5 years ago. Why the head of the social media platform is facing concerns over an illegal threat. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Topping your consumer news this morning, Elon Musk will have to try to once again prove in court that an anti-union tweet he made 5 years ago was not an illegal threat. A New Orleans appeals court will review a recent decision that Musk violated federal labor laws by tweeting that employees could lose stock options if they joined a union. In March, the same court ruled that the tweet was unlawful because it could discourage unionization at Tesla, and it must be deleted. Musk posted the tweet when the United Auto Workers were trying to organize employees at Tesla's plant in Fremont, California. All right, let's get to it. America's steals and deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
If you're like me and everybody in your house is on a health journey, this Counto digital scale is really going to help you maintain a healthy lifestyle. I did a lot of research and I'm so excited about this. I'm going to show you what you get when you bring it home. But it is a digital scale and it gives you 12 different body measurements, not just your weight, because our weight really fluctuates. So this is going to give you more information, like you'll get your BMI, your bone index, and your basal metabolic rate. And if you're a new mom, it's really cool because there's a baby growth setting and you can put it in baby mode. And if you're an athlete, like I have a lot of muscle men in my house, you can also measure your muscle mass. I don't like getting on a scale, I do not, but knowledge is power and this gives me so much information. It's really been a game changer with my health along that journey. This pairs with any smartphone, so you can take all of that data on this scale and it's gonna be on your app. Now, let me tell you how this works. The science is a little bit much. The scale can measure all these things. All you got to do, you step on it. It uses bioelectrical impedance, which measures how easily an electrical signal can move throughout your body. I know it's a lot, but that signal is going to move faster through muscle, so it can help you track what's muscle and what's fat. This is such a great deal and a cool product. Right now, we're offering 38% off the Counto scale. Head over to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
8:30 is your time. Thanks for joining us as we look live over the Inner Harbor in our beautiful Charm City. Thanks for being with us this Sunday, July 23rd. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's get to your forecast because it looks nice out there right now, but I'm hearing about showers. Meteorologist Justin Chambers here to break it all down.
Yeah, the whole thing is we're not going to really talk about rain so much into today as we will tomorrow. That's when we're going to see another round of those showers picking up. For this afternoon, may see a spotty pop-up thunderstorm, but overall looking pretty good right now. This is our Towson camera with that sun that is out there, and overall a cool morning, at least for some, in western Maryland. We're talking mid-60s for Oakland and Cumberland. A lot of us in the lower 70s up along the Chesapeake, Westminster, over to Bel Air, out through Chestertown, 74 in Annapolis and 72 in Baltimore City. So next couple of hours, temperatures climbing 76 by 9 a.m. and we'll see those lower 80s creep in by 11 a.m. on our way to the mid to upper 80s. High temps today are going to be right there, right about 90 degrees. We've had a few days off from the 90s, but we're right back at it today. Notice tomorrow is actually a little bit cooler in the upper 80s, and then Tuesday we'll start cranking up that heat in the lower 90s. We've got a pretty decent heat wave coming later this week. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right. Well, developing now, officials are still investigating two shootings in Baltimore that happened Friday night. One left a man dead, the other injured. In Northwest Baltimore, a 21-year-old was shot and killed. This happened on Park Heights Avenue, just blocks from the Pimlico racetrack. Police have not identified a suspect. And in East Baltimore, a 29-year-old man grazed by a bullet. This happened on East Lafayette Avenue near Hope Street. He was taken to the hospital. At this point, authorities are asking anyone with information to reach out or contact Metro Crime Stoppers, the number you see on your screen, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. And police are searching for suspects after 3 teens were shot Thursday night in West Baltimore. This is the latest act of juvenile gun violence in the city. Those 3 teens, ages 15 and 16, between those ages, they were rushed to the hospital after that triple shooting on Riggs Avenue. The Western District, where this shooting occurred, is where the mayor launched his group violence reduction strategy more than a year ago. And while homicides and shootings have gone down in this district, crime continues. Fox 45 News questioned the mayor on his plan just last month when officials announced the takedown of a drug trafficking ring in this same area.
You would be foolish to think that you'll have a program for a year and it's going to go away. What you should be highlighting is that an area that's 3.7 square miles and 37,000 people that is accompanying for some years 15, 16, 20% of the violence in the city of Baltimore is seeing that violence go down.
Well, so far this year, there have been at least 11 juvenile homicides and more than 60 youth have been shot in non-fatal shootings. Elsewhere developing in the city, once Baltimore's top power couple, former City State Attorney Marilyn Mosby and Council President Nick Mosby, well, they're calling it quits on their marriage. This comes as the former City State Attorney's federal trial approaches. Marilyn Mosby is facing 4 federal charges stemming from her purchase of 2 vacation homes in Florida. Nick Mosby isn't facing any charges and is running for re-election. Fox 45 Keith Daniels has the latest.
Once regarded as Baltimore's power couple, embattled former City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby files to end her marriage with City Council President Nick Mosby. Her lawyer submitting the paperwork at Baltimore Circuit Court Friday morning. According to the 2-page court complaint obtained by Fox 45 News, Marilyn Mosby is seeking a limited divorce, joint child custody, and other financial relief. Under Maryland law, a limited divorce is the state's version of a legal separation, allowing spouses to settle issues like dividing assets and to establish child custody terms. The divorce comes during a busy, even turbulent time for the Mosby family.
This is a very complicated dynamic you have here.
Incumbent Nick Mosby battling Councilman Zeke Cohen for his seat as City Council President. And later this year, Marilyn Mosby set to stand trial on federal charges linked to an alleged mortgage fraud and perjury, a case in which her husband is not charged but has come under scrutiny for his potential financial involvement in the case. Dr. Richard Vatz.
So it's a very complicated matter.
Professor of political rhetoric at Towson University, on what role the couple's latest development could play in another Mosby matter.
You have somebody who potentially could testify against Marilyn Mosby in a very material way. On the other hand, he has to be careful that he doesn't irritate her too much because he's going to be involved in divorce proceedings. I think it's a story because of the intertwining of her trial and a divorce proceeding. What does that motivate him to say or not to say? That's the critical question.
In a joint statement sent to Fox 45 after the news broke, Nick and Marilyn Mosby say, after careful consideration and much prayer, we have decided to end our marriage. We want to emphasize our commitment as strong co-parents moving forward. Meanwhile, the defense team for the former City State's Attorney wants separate trials for the charges she faces. Her lawyers say a combined trial on the perjury and mortgage fraud accusations would, quote, confound the jury and could lead to improper convictions. Jury selection for her trial is set to begin on October 31st. We, of course, will bring you the latest updates as we approach that trial and from the courtroom. You can find the latest information on air and on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Continuing coverage this morning, the Squeegee kid who is accused of murdering Timothy Reynolds is set to continue his trial on Monday. The closing arguments are set to begin, and here's some of the fast facts about what's happened so far. On Monday, July 17th, the jury was selected after the prosecution was denied a delay. On Tuesday, opening statements, the prosecution claimed Reynolds was outnumbered and gunned down by the defendant. In turn, the defense tried to paint Reynolds as the aggressor, not the victim. Wednesday, the prosecution focused on BPD body camera and surveillance video, capturing the moments before and during Reynolds as he approached with a bat and then when he lost his life. The defense argued the video does not represent the rapid involvement of the situation when it is slowed down. Now, Thursday's focus, the medical examiner's report. It says Reynolds was shot 5 times, 3 times in the back. His blood alcohol level was well below the legal limit, despite the defense's argument. Another important thing to mention here, the jury has sent at least 2 notes to the judge saying they're struggling to hear what prosecutor Cynthia Banks is saying and see what she's showing. Clifton Park Pool has reopened just in time for the weekend, but 2 other public pools are expected to remain closed for the rest of the summer. In the meantime, police have reported kids breaking into those pools, and some city council members are butting heads with the mayor over getting them fixed. Councilman Zeke Cohen says the mayor should have set aside funding to repair Patterson Park Pool and other facilities before the swim season began. The mayor says the councilman was among those who wanted to wait to make repairs after swimming season. Taxpayer watchdogs say they think the situation shows serious management issues within City Hall.
It's all excuses, but I think you have to go to the leadership of the children who actually broke into the pool. This is the teen pool revolt in the summer of 2023. Now, look, we don't condone breaking and entering and law breaking, but I think, these kids, they're hot, they've had it, they just want to cool off, and this is their response to the unresponsive and broken city bureaucracy at Parks and Recreation, and ultimately the buck has to stop with Mayor Brandon Scott.
According to OpenTheBooks.com, the city has put more than $13 million towards swimming pool repairs. That happened more than a year ago. Developing this morning, police in Mexico are searching for a man accused of setting a bar on fire, killing 11 people. We have the latest on the ongoing investigation.
Our temperature's not too bad if you're going to go out for a run or a jog this morning. We will be a bit warmer later this afternoon. Break all that down for you in our full forecast coming up.
All right, making headlines this morning, authorities are hunting for a man in Mexico who they say intentionally set a bar on fire, killing 11 people. Footage of the scene shows flames roaring through the area. The building's windows completely blown out as people try to escape the smoke. This happened around 1:30 a.m. in San Luis Rio, Colorado, Mexico, a city not far from the border of Arizona. According to authorities, the suspect threw what looked like a Molotov cocktail just moments after he was kicked out of the bar. 4 people were injured, and among those dead are 7 men and 4 women. Now, closer to home, 6 people were injured after an explosion last night, which reduced a New Jersey apartment, to rubble. The explosion happened around 6 p.m. at a Newark Housing Authority property. Among those victims, 1 was critically injured. The explosion also displaced at least 13 families from their homes. The Red Cross is on site assisting families. Meanwhile, authorities are still investigating the cause of the explosion. Well, today we're heating back up a little bit, but the hottest days, they're still ahead. Still to come, meteorologist Justin Chambers is tracking when we could see temps in the high 90s, plus some spotty storms this afternoon. But first, the O's bats provided plenty of run support early on. Despite a 5-0 lead quickly shortening, another late inning thriller in Tampa coming up next in Sports Unlimited. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Stand by.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Hits were hard to come by Friday night against the Rays. The O's only managed 2 in a 3-0 shutout. With that, Baltimore and Tampa entered Saturday's game tied for first again, and the O's were on a mission to be the lone team atop those AL East standings at game's end. Grayson Rodriguez making his second start since being called up for the second time. He would retire the first 7 batters he faced, gets Josh Lowe swinging here, and here comes the run support in the 4th. James McCann, 2-run double to left. And the next batter, that's Jorge Mateo. That's another 2-run double to left, and the Birds are in business. They jump out to a 5-0 lead. Plenty of run support, right? That's where you're wrong. To the 5th, Isaac Paredes with a laser off the bat. Gunnar Henderson, how are you? Throws to first, doubles up low. Grayson fired up after that, but the Rays would chip away at the lead. And in the 8th, Shintaro Fujinami on to pitch. Randy Rosarena, hard hit ball to short. Mateo can't handle it, and that ties the game at 5. No sweat for the O's, top 9. James McCann nearly hit in the head by the pitch, but gets the sacrifice bunt down and advances the runner, and that sets up Ryan O'Hearn. Pinch hitting for Mateo, and he drives in the go-ahead run from there. It was mountain time. Felix Bautista shutting the door on any Rays comeback attempt as the O's win another late thriller. 6-5, the final score.
Frage pinch hit, stays ready, knock. McCann, another fastball to the face bunt. That's at 3 this year. He's leading the league in bunts with fastballs to the faces in play. And then O'Hearn, just an amazing at bat off a really, really tough reliever. Drops one in there on the right field line. Just an enormous hit for us.
Pitching-wise, not a bad outing for Grayson Rodriguez, who tied his career high with 5 2/3 innings pitched. The Birds' hard-throwing righty retired the first 7 batters he faced and finished the day allowing 3 hits, 2 earned runs, while walking 2 and striking out 6.
I think it gives me something to build off of. Definitely helped my confidence out a lot. That's obviously a really good team, loaded lineup. So I'm glad I'm able to come in here on the road and I guess put my team in a spot to win.
With Saturday's win, the O's regain sole possession of first place in the AL East. They're 1 game ahead of the Rays and have a chance to increase that lead today with a series win. The Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Yankees all follow. Ravens flock, when's the last time you were this excited for training camp? No more contract drama between the team and Lamar Jackson, and some very high-profile additions to the offense. You get all of that and more in just a few days. Training camp is on its way. Here are some things to keep an eye out for over the next couple weeks of camp. The battle at left guard, a handful of guys in the mix for that starting job. How about Lamar and company? How they look in Todd Monken's new offense, and defensively, who aside from Marlon Humphrey is going to step up at corner for the Ravens? Then you have those who likely won't be on the field for that first day of camp. Some may be longer. The Ravens placed Tyus Bowser on the non-football injury list, J.K. Dobbins and Pat Ricard on the PUP, and Rashad Bateman on the reserve did not report list. Eric DeCosta said he spoke with Bateman and expects him to be at the facility soon. All players must be at Ravens camp on Tuesday. The first practice is Wednesday, July 26th. The Ravens will be at M&T Bank Stadium for an open practice for fans on Saturday, July 29th. First preseason game and only home one against the Eagles, August 12th. They'll have joint practices in Owings Mills with the Washington Commanders August 15th and August 16th. The hope for Maryland men's basketball is that it's only up from here. Coming off a trip to the NCAA tournament in 2022, some like to say. I don't know why I said that. The Terps will look to take it a step further. What better way to build team chemistry? With the trip to Italy beginning July 31st, while basketball is the main focus, set to be a really cool experience for the team.
I'm just excited to get down there. We're going to be out there for a little while, so it's a great time for us to, bond, connect, spend a lot of time with each other. My family's also going down there excited too, so it'll be a good experience.
That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Have a great Sunday.
Well, look, the United States is looking to score an unprecedented 3rd consecutive FIFA Women's World Cup title. On Friday, they defeated Vietnam 3-0. And in their first game of the tournament, well, in that game, National Women's Soccer League MVP Sophia Smith came the second-round youngest player in the U.S. at WNT history to score multiple goals in a World Cup game. She's also the 4th U.S. WNT player to ever score 2 or more goals in their Women's World Cup debut. Now, back-to-back defending champions. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get another look at our forecast. Meteorologist Justin Chambers, is this a good day if you want to go get the soccer ball and kick it around, just kind of in the spirit of World Cup?
Absolutely, yeah. A great day to be outdoors. Yesterday was real nice, and you'll feel maybe just a little bit more humidity today. Also seeing some of those clouds that will build in the afternoon, similar to what we saw yesterday, but today a better chance of at least a pop-up storm as opposed to what we were looking at yesterday afternoon. But still that dew point in the comfortable category. Notice what happens starting tomorrow and all the way through the end of the week. We're going to see those dew points climb. It will be more of the hot and humid type days that we'll have with those heat index values. You pay attention Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to feel like upper 90s and triple digits around here. So we've got a really hot couple of days coming up toward the end of the week. As for today, though, looking pretty good. Our HD radar is all quiet right now. Nice ridge of high pressure that's settled in and helped to dry us out over the last couple of days. This is our hourly future scan, so this is what it looks like for the afternoon. We're not tracking much. Maybe a stray pop-up storm starts to roll in 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight and into the overnight hours. That's what we're talking about. So really for most of the day, we're going to be just fine in terms of doing anything outside and not having to deal with some of those storms. But obviously, anytime this time of year you get those pop-up thunderstorms, got to make sure if you hear that rumble of the thunder, you got to get out of the pool. Our splash cast, that UV index still in the very high category. And high temperatures today, A lot of us will be in the mid to upper 80s and close to 90. 86 Eldersburg and Reisterstown, 87 for you, Cockeysville and Hunt Valley, right about 87 in Perry Hall and White Marsh this afternoon. Howard and Anne Arundel counties also in those mid to upper 80s as we take you through the afternoon today. And overall, if you're heading down the ocean, looking at lower 80s today, right about 80 on Monday, but we are carrying that chance for a few storms tomorrow. And then Tuesday looking pretty good as well with the beaches in full swing here. All right, here's that 7-day forecast, and here's that heat that's coming as we head toward the end of the week. We're talking about the mid to upper 90s into Thursday and Friday, where some of us could even see some triple-digit temperatures.
All right, trending this morning, if you're searching for a job and want to get noticed, well, your resume makes a big difference. You just don't want to be noticed in the wrong way. Resumes are often your first chance to make a first impression, but red flags on resumes can hurt a job seeker's chances. Experts warn against several red flags. This includes, take a look, spelling errors, grammatical errors. Make sure you proofread it. They say don't have patchy work history if you can, and make sure your job chances are truthful and they're viable. Don't embellish your accomplishments. Don't list possibly controversial affiliations, and list actual accomplishments. Spell out the positive contributions for your employer. Taking you live now to New York, as its plan to increase tolls when heading into parts of Manhattan is now facing a suit in New Jersey. The complaint accuses the Department of Transportation and Federal Highway Administration of not properly reviewing the toll's impact on New Jersey drivers. The two agencies signed off on a pricing plan last month, and it seeks to increase tolls at certain streets, get this, up to $23, a plan that New York officials say will reduce traffic and help fund the city's public transit system. American Airlines agrees to raise its pilot contracts offer by more than $1 million. The airline decided to bring its offer to par with competing airlines like United Airlines, who already reached an agreement with its pilots last week that it would give pilots up to 40% increase in their pay. American's new offer reaches about $9 billion in incremental compensation and benefits. Pilots would also get pay raises and bonuses. Meanwhile, the Allied Pilots Association says the offer included the least critical elements prioritized by the board. American Airlines CEO Robert Isom says they hope to ratify the agreement in August. You know we're looking pretty in this charm city today, and we're going to be getting warmer, 90 degrees, but we'll tell you about your work week just ahead. Meteorologist Justin Chambers is going to join us at the desk with a final check of your 10-day forecast.